We will call this meeting to order. We do have let's see, we need a roll call in.
Okay. Mr. Davis,
Here?
Mr. Hillsman, here. Mrs. Parker, Mr. Sanchez,
Here.
Mr. Standifer, Mr. Watkins, and Mr. Woolley.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, good. Item 3, approval of minutes. I need a motion to do that.
A motion to approve the minutes for our meeting on, what was that, March 12th, 2026?
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 4, staff comments and updates. Public Works Director, that guy Eagles.
Okay, so we're still, overall staff, we're still at 9 vacancies. We had a couple from streets resign, and we had a couple hires that kind of balanced it out. Our first,
we do have the, what's it called, for our new mechanic supervisor, fleet mechanic. We have that out, and it's posted, so the first review for those applicants will be, actually, tomorrow's afternoon is supposed to be starting the first review, so probably Monday morning is when we'll review the first round of those applicants, so hopefully we'll get that in place soon so we can get our fleet in check at that point. Other than that, the other two, we got 2 in water, 2 in wastewater that are vacant. All of our billing is filled now, so that's good. Our projects, 9th Street should be completed today. 9th Street right here, between City Park and Globe, should be completed today. They're gonna try to finish 18th, but I think the upcoming weather might affect them. The temp drop or something, I'm not exactly sure. And the wind. So they're gonna come back on Tuesday and finish that up. So hopefully the 18th will be done next week as well. Sports complex parking lot, a lot of the curbing is up and it should be done today, actually, the curbing at least. And then they'll start doing the fill and the asphalt to the parking lot at the sports complex. So grading on Monday, so that one's coming along. The one system that we did for the streets system, just a quick update, all the modules that we approved or you guys recommended going forward came out to $67,800. So I requested from the company if we can lower that price, and they did lower it to $59,998, which is about a $7,800 savings right there. So that's pretty good. Other than that, that's about my comments for today.
Okay, thank you. B, City Manager, Mr. Mitten.
I'm good, we can keep moving.
Okay. C, Mr. Davidson's not here today. So we'll move to item 5, discussion action items. A, transfer station discussion.
We don't have anybody on Zoom or anything, right? So, and is the mic picking me up okay?
Go ahead and talk, yeah.
Is the mic picking me up okay? Okay, cool. And I did send you an Excel document if you want to pull that up. I think we briefed last time that we were awarded through a federal grant $1.21 million to move forward with the transfer station project. Is that new news to anybody, or are we following that? Okay. So $1.21 million, doing some analysis across New Mexico. Full-blown, covered, quasi-indoor waste or solid waste management transfer station. Normal cost in today's money is about $9 million. We can break this project down into 2 phases, and this is completely okay by New Mexico Environmental. It's completely okay by NEPA, federal environmental processes. And this right now is not very important. But we can break the project down into two phases. Phase one can actually go indefinitely, but for about $1 million, we can put a phase one outdoor transfer station in place that meets the requirement for the city. Several cities across the state of New Mexico have done this, to where they have a fully operational but outdoor transfer station that meets their requirements of collecting trash, bringing it to a centralized location, tipping it, separating it in some cases, recycling it in some cases for the recyclables and commodities, and then taking the trash and moving it to a different site or a landfill nearby. That can go on indefinitely. It can go on until we seek additional funding in out years money to enclose the space. There's some differences, and we can talk about those, but I highly propose that we move forward with the requirements that it takes to get started with a phase one project, because it's going to take some time for a few different reasons. One, federal money on grants, they move slowly. As an anecdotal example, Ledger Fernandez grant for South Avenue K Street was awarded quite some time ago, and you haven't seen any tractors on South Avenue K. Just federal grants work, but they take a very hefty account for staff calories and labor to get that money working. It's going to take some time. So while we're working on securing that funding that's already promised and voted and it's a law, I propose that we start moving forward with the administrative pieces to do a phase one transfer station. Now, I've done some research. I have some documents. They're both draft, and if you'll entertain me, I'll read some things off of those things. So project overview and purpose. The City of Portales is developing a two-phased, this is draft, the City of Portales is developing a two-phase solid waste management and transfer station to modernize waste handling, improve operational efficiency, reduce transportation costs, and ensure long-term compliance with the state and federal environmental regulations. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, transfer stations consolidate waste from small collection vehicles into larger long-haul trailers, significantly reducing fuel use, emissions, and wear on municipal fleets. Some background and current conditions. The city's solid waste operation faces multiple challenges, we know that. Long-haul distances to regional landfills, i.e. Clovis is one of them. High fuel consumption and lost labor hours. Premature wear on collection vehicles, trash trucks that are not really designed for long hauling. Lack of a permitted transfer facility as required by New Mexico Environmental Department for operations exceeding 240 cubic yards a day, and inability to scale operations as waste volumes increase or decrease. Under New Mexico Environmental Department solid waste rules, we can go into the NMACs, but any facility handling more than 240 cubic yards per day must be permitted as a transfer station and must implement environmental protections, traffic controls, waste screening, and stormwater isolation systems. And what this is really saying is if we're moving forward into any kind of transfer station, those things that I just mentioned have to be taken into effect. A phase one project would consist of goals and objectives like the following: reduce long-haul trips, which would be a goal, improve staff productivity, not having them out on the road as long as we do, extend collection vehicle lifespan because we're not running it 240 miles a day. We would meet we would implement the EPA recommended stormwater isolation systems, meaning you have to have a barrier of swales and whatnot around wherever you collect trash in case it rains. You can't get the runoff from you are not allowed to have the runoff from the trash go into the normal stormwater system. We'll end up reducing emissions via improved hauling efficiency. We'll control odors, litter, and dust per EPA best practices, which are already posted for outdoor phase one transfer stations. And then there's this list of goals that we would achieve to meet the phase one requirements. So basically what I'm doing now is giving you the options of really, or the consideration of moving forward with a phase one transfer station that in today's money, we can meet that goal with the approved and voted on money of $1.21 million. We should be able to do that. We have a lot of groundwork to do before we will actually see something. Some of the things that we'll need to do is start the process, seek the permits, identify locations, and so on to start making this happen. But the longer we wait, the longer it'll take to get a transfer station. Subject to questions, comments, discussion? Yes.
And the properties that you're considering for location,
Don't know yet. That's why we have a committee. We are going to consider this, you know. So I think the properties that I've heard in gentle discussion, nothing really narrowed down, are things like the current convenience center. Now, current convenience center probably is not large enough. We could say that. So we'd have to look at options with that. Areas out by the walking park, the walking trail, you know, things like that. But we have to look holistically at these things and start to narrow it down to, you know, option 1, 2, and 3, and then getting that socialized with the public and whatnot. But this is kind of like a little dotted bright light along a railroad track. It's coming. We're gonna have to deal with it, and we're gonna have to get it done because it's for the betterment of the city. We can't avoid it. So and we will have to select sites, socialize those. And so far, every site discussion that I've heard, kind of to your question, there's been a good point to it, and then there's been that's gonna ruffle some feathers. Well, welcome to managing the city.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's just my personal opinion. This is not a got to do it thing. It's a need we should do.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so it's not on the chart of it. We're gonna have to do it because we're forced, in my opinion. We just-
Yeah, 100%. And if we put things in perspective, look, a couple things at play here. Anything that someone puts in a dumpster or alongside it, which is illegal, but anything that someone puts there, doesn't matter what it is. An empty box for a 86-inch TV screen, which weighs 4 or 5 pounds, but it takes up all the space of a dumpster. Yard clippings, 20 buckets, whatever, and these are non-substantial items, right? But we're collecting them, and it costs me just as much to pick up a giant box in a dumpster and put that in a dump truck, which takes up a lot of volume. I don't get much bang for my buck, and move that down the road and drop it off for a fee at Clovis, right? So a transfer station is going to provide, for many reasons, it has to. We have to, one, use this as a mechanism, a portal, if you will, to start a centralized recycling program to separate commodities from actual trash. Because I'm paying someone to take commodities, aluminum, different types of metal, cardboards, papers. I'm paying someone to do that. And then I'm paying them for the actual refuse as well. The tipping fees, I think, are one of the largest portions of our overall solid waste management bill. And that can be done to a certain extent in-house and greatly reduce those fees. Now, keep in mind, if you were apprised of anything we talked about last night, we're paying general funds to make ends meet because we're inefficient on these enterprise instrumentalities, meaning we're upside down on solid waste management. So any efficiency that we can get extends not only our enterprise funds, solid waste is one of those, but we get, by creating efficiencies, we get to stop pulling general fund monies from our accounts, which are your road maintenance monies, your building monies, your repair monies, your maintenance monies, and your salary monies. So I'm taking monies from general funds and putting them into solid waste management just to make ends meet, because some of these things are not efficient. And by recapturing these efficiencies, I can stop doing that and put that money where it belongs, in the roads and other places. So you're exactly right. This is not negotiable. This is a must-do. And the fact that we applied for a federal grant, now we're on the hook for it. We must spend that money the way we asked and said we're going to spend it.
Our long-haul trucks were the equivalent of 2 of our collection trucks as far as volume.
Oh, I'd have to check the volume on those, but I think that, I'll tell you, if the commodities are separated, so if they go a short distance, drop the trash off, the commodities are, i.e. recyclables, are separated from refuse. I don't know the number, but I would say the number would be way closer to 10 than it would be 2.
So
Keep in mind, I'm hauling buckets,
pretty significant.
empty buckets. If someone throws away an old trash can, I mean, there's a quarter of a dumpster that we're hauling. It's crazy. We're paying a lot for a little. Yes, sir.
What's a round trip, hour and a half, 2 hours?
Clock time, I don't know, but I'll tell you, we put in about, if, all three trucks are running and each truck makes 2 to 3 trips, I think each, how many per day generally?
Two trips a day.
We're clocking about 240 miles of road time.
So if you're dropping off at Central Collection, they can go be back in collecting garbage.
Oh, you bet.
And that saves on your trucks and it's efficient use
So
of
instead
fuel.
of 5 days a week, we could probably go down to 3 days a week
Yeah.
doing that, and then we could put them in the alleys and
And-
picking up kids.
Yeah.
You bet. And even the Manning model, so by playing this out, doing the early analysis with 3 to 4 people who are driving and doing trash truck operations, this model would be so efficient comparatively that the same people could do trash truck operations, drop off at the transfer station, do their post-operations maintenance on their trucks, move over to the transfer station, operate the loader. So the same 4 people could do the operation through the day. Does that make sense? Yeah, so, because I've heard the argument before, well, where would we get these people? These could very well be in a model, the same people. Because I don't have them doing long haul trips, dropping off trash. They're local, they pick up trash in the morning or whatever, and in the afternoon, they separate the trash, put it in a long haul truck one time, move that, get rid of it. Because one of the things in a open air phase 1 transfer station is you cannot store the trash overnight. Separated commodities and recyclables you can, but trash itself and refuse has to go. So it models out in the personnel model and the full-time employees that the same employees picking up trash can do the transfer operations as well.
Any other discussion? If not, we're looking for a motion of approval. to
What
move this-
really what's on the thing is just discussion, so, you know, we're open for discussion as long as anybody, and I know you already asked for a call for questions, but I think, you know, we can take action on this and move it forward and recommend moving it to the city council and move on it.
Well, I heard that mentioned that you would like us to move it on with approval to the council, so
Works for
if I
me.
could get a motion.
I make a motion that we recommend to move this forward to the city council for approval.
Have a second?
I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item B, ranking of public works projects and equipment purchases from previous meeting discussion and/or action.
Okay, so I sent you in the updated list of what we're working on now currently. So if you have that old list, you can just set that aside and work off of this one. I had my staff look over the list and they ranked them the way they thought we would like. The top probably 3 or 4 or 5 of them have been on the ICIP, and they're ranked very high, so that's where they were as far as those. And the only ones really new to this is probably a lot of the equipment, parking structures for public works and water, and then we did add in a Little League baseball, softball field, but we put that up at the bottom. It's very new. We're at the beginning of planning it out right now, so
Where'd our street sweeper go? Was it funded?
it was funded, so we took that off. So we should, I think July, I think we should get the funding for that.
So do we have one now?
No, we're waiting for the funding, and once the funding gets here, we'll order one. We have one that's a very old one. but
I thought we had one that was running some.
It runs some, yes, but we'll get a brand new one that's, will work a lot better than what we have now.
Okay. Anything else?
There is something, you know, if we get that program that Pat's putting in for, and we get it where it prioritizes our streets and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I think we take it, keep the subjectivity out of it, so it will tell us which street needs to be repaired and all the other things. And when we talk about street repairs, residential street, if we take that and use that as our number 1, 2, 3, and then that will pass to Joe when she's gonna, because we can use it as justification on those grants, right, Joe?
Yes.
Absolutely. So we do have a residential street improvements that's right here down the thing, and that's pretty much, they give us money that allows us to go, once we get that program, we can use that program to spend this money if we get that money.
Anything else from you?
Nope.
Personally, I would put the residential street improvements number one on the top of the list. As far as drainage, what are we seriously having trouble with drainage at the moment that we haven't had for the last 20 years?
Are you asking what do we have that's new for drainage wise?
Anything new,
What's
but-
newly flooding that isn't different?
Yeah, unless we have something new, that to me doesn't look like one of the number one priorities in my opinion because of all the other things we need to be working on. But that's just my opinion.
Well, one of the things is that, we are working on an outdated plan. We do have areas in town that are flooding a lot. One would be Railroad. If you go there on Railroad now, it's almost dirt again, and we keep trying to do that. So this will just get a plan to start being able to tackle those projects along with the street as well. Because without that plan, some of these streets we can fix them, but it's just gonna ruin them again. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the street fixing itself. So if we can get that plan in place, I believe it'll help us tremendously with fixing our roads and where we need to focus on.
Well, hearing that, I would agree with the plan. About the number 5 is drainage improvements. I would still, the parking structure for your vehicles, I would put in priority above that just because of expensive equipment and trying to keep it. But
Okay?
just because we don't have any serious drainage problems that we haven't had as long as I've lived here. And I'm not saying that they don't need to be improved. It's just something that's gonna be difficult to improve. With that plan, it might give you some insight of what they suggest doing, but there are a few things I would put ahead of it just because of trying to get things back in place for our citizens, parks.
Yeah, I'm not arguing the point, but I do want to take a very serious look at Ward A and drainage. The railroad, BNSF, et cetera, creating that swale, because that's just the way it goes. And Ward A along that one section is ridiculous during the rainy season. And so I really want to focus hard on at least relieving that piece so that we can do something with that. But once that water starts to flow to the south and piles up, it's destroying the Railroad Road. Is that the name?
Railroad Street.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, as a new person, I keep using that excuse, but when I came to town, I couldn't even tell that was a street. I mean, it looked like Afghanistan, I'm not even joking. So, we have to do something at least about that kind of portion of Ward A. Just, we have to. So in scale, I think we have to keep that higher on the list than bumping it way down. Now, keep in mind, we're looking at ICIP prioritization, right? So, it does have effect, it is important, and it does get looked at. But the drainage, when you're looking at this, also consider that everything in capital outlay requests will be on ICIP, but not everything on ICIP will be on capital outlay. So let's just make sure, when we're talking about the projects that we define, are we racking and stacking with regard to capital outlay? Are we racking and stacking with regard to ICIP?
And how would we know that looking at our list? Which one fall under which category?
These are the things we should be discussing in here. So, a capital outlay will generally be items that are over $100,000 generally, and under $1 million.
Okay.
And they will be non-phased, meaning you can tackle those in 1 year. If you receive capital outlay money, you can be done with that project in its entirety. So, the team is working diligently to finish the capital outlay request list, and I'm sorry if I muddled up your presentation. So, for example, if you saw something that said, bucket loader, $140,000, that would probably be a prime target for capital outlay. If you saw, build a new city hall, that's not on there, I just came off the top of my head, and it was $14 million phased over 4 years, that would not be a good capital outlay candidate. Matter of fact, it would get nothing. One other thing for capital outlay, if we're gonna discuss it, is anything that deals with water will not be on the capital outlay request. That'll be deferred to the Water Trust Board. So those kinds of things. And the jury's out as to whether drainage is a water project or if it's a capital project.
Okay, and as far as vehicles go, I mean, this list is kind of prioritized the way you see it inside, in-house, right?
The way we see it in-house,
Okay.
and the way, I'll just say this, the way we rank our ICIP, the ones that can go on the capital, is the way I'm gonna rank them on there for the capital list. But the capital list is gonna include, I think, we narrowed it down to 15 total, not just for public works, but and there's probably 4 other projects that are not public works on capital, so basically the ranking for here will move over to capital for us.
The difficulty, I'm speaking for myself again, the difficulty for me is not knowing which ones of these pieces of equipment are more critical than the other.
Yeah, and I went through them with, the equipment is ranked the way we want it.
Got it.
Okay, and I see your point with the structure, because we do actually, when we need something to protect our equipment, so
Yeah.
I do see it, maybe we can push the structures up higher on the list of the ICIP for public works, maybe right above equipment, because, you know, those are not, those probably would not go, especially the $1 million one, the big thing is, probably won't go on the capital outlay, equipment will. So, if we're gonna push those structures up, I put them right at number where it says line 12, right above the Vector truck and below the Thompson pump / truck vehicles. The Thompson pump, we really need a backup pump for when we, at the wastewater treatment plant and around the whole city, so that's a real critical piece of equipment that I believe we need, like,
So you would put the structure after the Vector,
no, right before,
right before,
yeah.
okay?
I agree with Steve, you know, if we're gonna get new equipment, let's take care of it in the last year, but it's set out here in the sun and the wind and all the stuff
No,
that you're
I
in.
agree with you, so.
When y'all talk about the railroad, is that the one over by Spray Green, right in there?
Yes,
Yeah.
and so when I talk about railroad, I'm talking about, what we're looking at is from Avenue B all the way to, actually to the fairgrounds, the county too, because all that water is actually going right
Yeah.
there. So we're talking about a bigger project than the railroad, but the railroad street itself is the one that takes the brunt of all that water draining gets disturbed the most, so. You know, it's gonna be a fairly big project, and we're gonna have to really get some engineers doing and help us with this drainage, especially get that drainage on the other side of the tracks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, you've got to be able to move that water somehow past the tracks.
So that's why these are pretty high on
Yeah.
it. We gotta get that plan in place. We have to start moving on it, or else we're never gonna be able to fix that road.
I agree with the way you explained that. One of the major problems we have in Portales is one will never change, and that's, there's only about 10 feet of elevation change inside the city limits. And that really makes it tough.
Yep. And so she just gave me, we got an estimate for design costs just for what I kind of explained. We're looking at about $380,000 just for design. So, you know, it is a very large project, but something that really needs to happen in the future. So
And that'll encompass the drainage for the entire city,
that's,
No,
that's
No,
just for,
just the
that's
railroad
just for the
section.
railroad project.
just for the railroad
That's
project.
line Boston Railroad Street
Yeah.
for the road construction, the drainage portions of it, and what it'll take to really fix all that so that the drainage will drain south, like
So
Mr.
that-
Rankin was saying.
That's not the master drainage plan,
No.
that's just for that
That'll be
area.
a little piece of it, but it's just a little section of it, so.
Who's taking care of the master plan?
On the master plan, that actually falls under, Kelly, the planning and zoning, but we're assisting, so I wanted to keep it up on ours too, to make sure that we keep it a high priority.
Okay, so that's
No, I didn't mean in-house, I meant who's the company? Do you have an engineering company for that, or?
We have spoken with one, we actually have spoken with 2, and we have a grant out for that. We don't know if we're gonna get that one or not. We did apply, but we haven't yet heard back from them.
And there's we have a standing master drainage plan. So when we were applying for grant funding, we have to reference the standing master drainage plan. And then, ta-da. But here's the thing about drainage plans for everybody, and you probably already know this. They change. Every time you change construction, every time you add a road, you put in a major building, you put in Walmart, because of the roof structure, the parking and all that, your last master drainage plan is somewhat out the window. So as we move forward and we look towards more business-related and expansion, et cetera, these drainage plans will change. So about every 5 years, your master drainage plan has to be relooked, and then it has to be modified, et cetera, particularly if anything has taken place. So the last one, I think, is like 20 years old plus. And so we do have, like Joe said, a grant request out to update the drainage plan. But unfortunately, drainage plans will more or less always be on your visual horizon on these things. Every time we put in some kind of construction that's larger than, say, a residential property, a stormwater protection plan, a SWIPI, is required, and then that changes the flow of water, et cetera. But you put something like Walmart in, everything changes.
Okay, on big projects, are we still requiring them to carry their own money, like their own water, like we did with Walmart and we did with the new church over on 18th?
When you say carry your own water, help me out, what do you mean?
Retaining ponds.
Oh, going forward, I would say to a certain extent, yeah, they're detention ponds. They're allowed to store it temporarily so that the drainage system can absorb it over a short amount of time, but they're not allowed to like hold it.
Or either one,
Slow it down.
neither one of these are putting that water back in our system, are they?
No, not at all. What they're doing is they're holding it
Yeah.
so that our drainage system can kind of keep up with it. And like 18th Street Church, actually, that's kind of the way of the future. The way their landscaping is concave.
Well, they've
Right.
got-
Yeah, so that's the landscaping of the future, according to New Mexico Environmental Department, is to look at doing that, where you hold the water temporarily. It'll a certain amount will soak in, but allows the over the road drainage to work more efficiently. And then the low spots around Walmart, the same thing. But what you're not allowed to do is create a pond over 6 feet of depth, and you're not allowed to retain the water indefinitely, and you're not allowed to reuse it off the site or relocate it. And the city doesn't have any surface water permits. Nobody has surface water permits, and it would take surface water permitting to indefinitely hold that water or reuse it.
Right. Does any of this fall under the heading that we could go to the New Mexico Finance Authority to get that engineering done?
Oh, yeah, I believe so, yeah. We can look to them to see, about picking that up for sure.
I'm not sure it'd take care of a lot of cost on the engineering side of it.
We've approached with some of those things, we're surprised how it turned out. I mean, it sounds really like a great deal up front, but it's not necessarily exactly as free as it's advertised.
What else do we need to discuss about this? Anybody?
Nothing that I see.
What do you need from us today?
So with the changes of moving those up to, the two structures up into that spot right between the pump and back truck, I just need the approval for the ranking at that point.
Okay, how do you guys feel about the ranking? Is there anything else that you feel like needs to be changed?
I'll move those two forward and I'm good. I'll look at them.
Okay, I would entertain a motion with the changes that have been mentioned to approve this and send it to council.
You'll be sending it to the ICIP committee.
Okay,
So you're racking and stacking the public works desirements, then those desirements will move forward to the ICIP committee. The ICIP committee will rack and stack all the city's desirements, and they'll bring the total ICIP package to the city council.
But I'll make a motion that we approve this and send it to the ICIP committee with the one caveat, make sure those two parking structures are moving forward.
I second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, all against, same sign. Motion carried. Item C, continue discussion, formulation of a plan to submit to council before July 1 regarding trash rate increases at per resolution 22-23-24.
I think that's a moot point at this moment. So last night we had a finance committee meeting and covered all enterprise funds, including trash. And so that action is being taken by the finance committee. So I think you can, what's the correct Robert's Rules of Order for this is to not postpone it or table it, but you can kill it or whatever. It's moving forward through finance.
Probably on this one, postpone would be better than
You
table.
can postpone it indefinitely.
I mean, that would bring it up at any given point at a future date.
Sure.
Okay, do I have a motion to do that?
If you want to have if anyone wants to discuss it, we can discuss it, and then you can make a motion after that, but.
Can you tell us what was done at the finance?
Yeah,
committee?
so let me give you a long and short of it. Resolution 22, TAC 23, TAC 24 was put together in 2022, voted on by the standing city council, signed by the mayor and council members to go with rate increases starting on the January 1st, 2023. January 1st, 2023, rate increases for solid waste management, water, and sewer all went into effect. In your case, trash went into effect at 12% in 2023. Now, the resolution, it was supposed to be in 2023 a 12% raise, then 2024 a 12% raise on top of that, 25 a 12% raise on top of that, 26 on top of that, et cetera, et cetera. Over 5 years, the solid waste rates would increase by 60+% because it'd be 12 over 5 years aggregated over time. In 2023, referred to as base year, that 12% increase took place. There was no discussion by city council and no action. And in 2024, everybody just forgot. I'm gonna use the word forget. I don't know. To enact the second year of 12%. In 2025, same thing. Nobody enacted the 12%. In 2026, nobody enacted the 12%. So where we stand today, there should have been carried forward a total 48% increase in solid waste management, when in fact there was only a 12% or 12%. And so we are funding, or we're securing funding for the services that we're selling on 2023 prices, but we're paying 2026 bills to make that happen. So we're operating at a loss every month. Unfortunately, I didn't carry those notes forward on this, but we're operating on a loss right now. If we take the solid waste management, sewer, and water, we're programmed to be at a $3.91 million loss by the end of 2026 by not billing appropriately. A portion of that is solid waste management, so we're in the hundreds of thousands of dollars on solid waste, but we're in the millions of dollars on the three combined. So the finance committee heard that last night. We listened, deliberated for quite a while. We have a working group established it's going to start taking place on Tuesday with a short turnaround to have courses of action for recommendations to move forward to get the billing straight and how to get the billing out to the public and to make it right. Now, while you're thinking about that, keep this in mind. There's no vote necessarily required. The vote took place and the resolution was enacted in 2022. That ship sailed. That's legal. That's law. The problem is someone forgot to abide by that law, that rule, that resolution, which puts the city upside down. So now the question is, how do we get back on track? We don't need approval to bill correctly. That approval was given 5 years ago, 4 years ago. We need to figure out how to go from where the mistake was made to stop making the mistake and move forward, because anecdotally, the cat is out of the bag. Let me explain. When we move forward for Water Trust Board funding and other loans or grants, we have received from the New Mexico Finance Authority a letter saying your enterprise funds, and I'm paraphrasing, but we applied for a grant, fairly substantial, for the well field, And New Mexico Finance Authority came back and said, after reviewing your enterprise funds, you're insolvent. You will not make enough money to pay back any of your loans. So instead of using enterprise funds to guarantee this loan, you must use gross receipts tax to back this loan. Okay, when you're using gross receipts tax to back enterprise fund loans, New Mexico Finance Authority, by their own volition and by their own research and their own finance teams, have done an audit of your system, and they have determined that you're insolvent. You will not be able to pay your bills. The sad thing about GRT is you can't raise GRT. We've already done GRT up against the legal limit. We can't go back to that well. When consumer price index and inflation, which normally is about 2.5 to 3% per year, exceeds our GRT, which is only about 2.5% over the state tax rate. Once inflation passes that GRT and you can't go back to the tax well, or the GRT well, you're now losing money again. What we did by paying bills with GRT is borrowed time, but we didn't solve the problem. So we're okay for the minute, but when the finance authority says you're insolvent, and our own finance director says we're running out of strategic reserves, and that minute that we run out of GRT, Patty, and strategic reserves, that city is now losing money and won't recover. Sad story, but we have to fix it.
Any other discussion? I will still accept the motion to postpone.
I'll motion to postpone for
Second.
discussion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. That concludes our agenda for the day, so we will consider ourselves adjourned.
Awesome.